Now we'll listen to key actors of the Inspireurope Plus consortium. May I now invite to the stage our next speakers, Claire Morel, Head of Unit Maria Skłodowska-Curie Action, Directorate General for Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, European Commission, Lohéac, Executive Director of the Polish Program, Geary, Inspireurope Plus Coordinator, Director of Scholars at Risk, Rob. Yeah.
Hello, good morning. I will try to be as enthusiastic as Professor Aguillon, but it's not going to be easy, Monsieur Professor Aguillon. I'm not sure I have a lot of internal enthusiasm, but I'm not sure I can show it as prominently as Professor Aguillon. Anyway, we've just heard a lot about initiatives taking place in France to attract talents, to protect academic freedom. So now I will mention what we are doing at the European level. We have heard a lot also about the ERC, the European Research Council, but there is another important program at EU level, which Professor Aguillon has not mentioned, which is the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, which is the flagship European program that supports researchers throughout their careers, from doctoral to postdoctoral level, and at any stage of their career, and from researchers from all over the world. This is a program that is not new. Next year it will celebrate its 30th anniversary, which is a bit, it's rare that a program survives so many commissions, so many priorities. So I'm happy to be here on behalf of the European Commission, on behalf of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Action, so MSCA in short. And that's, in fact, the program which funds Inspireurope, and that has started to fund it in 2019. So in the past 6 years, we have supported this program, which supports academic freedom and supports organizations that support researchers at risks. And I'm really happy to see that academic freedom has become a key value, key issue at national and European level, because it was not the case, I think, when we started 6 years ago. And in the past years, sometimes I had the impression that we were speaking a bit in the desert. So I'm really happy to see that the, let's say, the international geopolitical environment has suddenly brought light to this important dimension. So as you have heard from Minister Baptiste earlier, the high-level event which took place on Monday under the auspice of President Macron. I'm sure you have followed, and if not, I would really advise you to read the speech of President Macron and Ursula von der Leyen. It's really a strong testimony, not only of France, but also of Europe's unwavering testimony and support for academic freedom, commitment to scientific mobility, openness, and international exchange of excellence. And in her closing remark, President Ursula von der Leyen indeed announced a European Choose Europe for Science initiative, which comprise support for international talent, both in the form of grants. The ERC was mentioned, but I hope it will not be limited to the ERC. Administrative simplification, both concerning project management and visa procedures for international researchers. And the first principle of the initiative that was very clearly and strongly mentioned by President von der Leyen was open, free science, guaranteed freedom of scientific research. And this should in the future be formally protected through a legal act at EU level. For the time being, let's say scientific academic freedom is not mentioned in any in EU law. So as of next year, the European Commission is working on what is called the ERA Act, so the European Research Area Act, that is a policy framework aimed at creating a unified, borderless market for research and innovation across the EU that will have academic freedom, scientific research as its heart. In addition to that, in the framework of the Marie Skłodowska-Curie action, we are also launching, in fact, we launched it earlier, an initiative called also Choose Europe, and which is also called Choose Europe for Science, which might create a bit of confusion because there is now a proliferation of Choose Europe initiative. But under the Marie Skłodowska-Curie action, this initiative aims at attracting, retaining talent by fighting against the precarity of researchers' career. So by offering longer-term professional perspective. It's an initiative that will be announced in mid-May, and the call for proposal will be organized later on this year. So I would advise you to follow us on our social media, in particular on LinkedIn. So we are witnessing an unprecedented call for immediate action at political level to safeguard knowledge and scientific openness. And I think it's a wake-up call that we should not take freedom and democracy for granted when we see what's happening now in the US. And I really hope that the work that has been done so far by the two Inspire Europe projects will serve as support, as guidance, both at national and European levels. A lot has already been achieved by the Inspire Europe project, and I'm happy to hear that the work of PAUSE was on Monday acknowledged by President Macron. Well done. The MSCA, the Marie Skłodowska-Curie action, which I represent here, has also a role to play in this, let's say, all these initiatives to support academic freedom. First of all, it's a bottom-up program, so it's open to all scientific fields, to researchers from all over the world. We select proposals based on their excellence, so there is a complete freedom in selecting the scientific areas in which the researchers want to work. As I said, the Inspire Europe project, this one and the one before, so there have been two consecutive projects, have been funded by the Marie Skłodowska-Curie action and have funded the support that they've provided have benefited to hundreds of researchers at risk all over the world. In addition to Inspire Europe, the MSCA also provides fellowships and supports to researchers from Ukraine. The minister mentioned the MSCA for Ukraine scheme that was launched in 2022 with a budget of 35 million. So this fellowship scheme was launched in 2022. We managed to fund the research of 125 Ukrainian researchers who could continue safely their research projects in Europe. And very soon, 50 additional Ukrainian researchers will continue their work, will start their new research. And later on in the year, we are launching a new call for 10 million to continue this useful work we're doing with Ukrainian researchers. And for us, it's extremely important that in the framework of this MSCA for Ukraine, that the researchers maintain the connection to their country, to the local RNI communities in Ukraine. So this is why we strongly encourage the researchers to continue working with their counterparts and whenever possible to continue their research in Ukraine so that all the research work that they have invested in Europe will be also useful for Ukraine once it will be possible. Speaking of knowledge and exchange, one of the key contributions of the Inspire Europe project has been, of course, all these European expertise that has been mobilized and that we are using to shape future programs. And one of the outcomes of their work, of the Inspire Europe program, has been the MSCA guidelines on the inclusion of researchers at risk, which any institution working for the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, but working also with researchers at risk can use. So I think they are quite easy to find. They are called guidelines for the inclusion of researchers at risk, and they provide useful tips and advice with examples of from practical experience on how institutions can safely include researchers at risk in their institution. Another and more recent example of the work of Inspire Europe, of their advocacy work, has been the launch of the SAFE project, which is testing the possibility to establish at European level a fellowship scheme for researchers at risk, that if this project, the current project, is, let's say, successful, could in the future become a permanent fellowship scheme at European level for researchers at risk. So the SAFE project has just finalized the selection. I don't know if you will talk about it, you will, but has just finalized the selection of around 60 researchers at risk. Maybe we will hear more about this later on. And they are developing risk assessment guidelines on the selection procedure for international researchers. And this is a concrete example of what Inspire Europe does, because this project does not come from the European Commission, but it was a project requested by the European Parliament following advocacy work of the Inspire Europe towards the European Parliament. We know that it's not an easy task, this SAFE project, but it's important that if it's successful, it will allow the EU to have a comprehensive structure to guide our work on academic freedom and the freedom of scientific research. Because at EU level, I have to say that for the time being, as I said, maybe academic freedom was taken for granted, so there was not maybe enough light on it, there was maybe not a lot of enough visibility, and we have a lot of different scattered initiatives. So what we're trying to do in the future, because we are currently reflecting on the future financial perspectives, is to try to have a more coherent set of initiatives. For example, I can mention, when I mention these different initiatives, we have the Euro-Access Science for Refugee initiative. We have the work which is carried out in the framework of the Bologna process on fundamental academic values. And the guiding principles on protecting these values that are taking place at an intergovernmental level. Furthermore, following an initiative by the European Parliament in January 24, calling, as I said, for legislative proposal to protect academic freedom at individual, institutional, and national level, my colleagues in the Commission are conducting a comprehensive study across the EU and some selected non-EU countries to assess the possibility of having this legal framework that I mentioned. So the study, which is expected to be finalized before the summer, and its findings will inform future actions. So as you see, both at national, European level, lots of things are happening. We are currently reflecting on the future instruments at EU level that will replace, as of 2028, the current programs, and all the exchanges that we're having today will feed our reflection on how to continue protecting integrity, freedom of thoughts, and knowledge exchanges. So I'd like to finish with this. I mean, this is an extremely important forum for us. I'm here with my colleague Maria Mitic. We're here the whole day. And if you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, we're here and we'll be happy to hear back from you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Claire. Dear friends, chers amis, dear scholars and researchers, dear partners in the PAUSE programme, in Inspire Europe, throughout our community and network of support for scholars at risk. And I am delighted on behalf of the Inspire Europe Plus Consortium and Scholars at Risk Europe to join with Laura Lohéac to welcome you all to this annual forum. Je remercie chaleureusement nos collègues du programme de PAUSE et du Collège de France d'avoir créé cette rencontre, cette occasion si importante de réfléchir et d'explorer de nouvelles réponses aux défis. I also want to extend a special welcome to the researchers at risk from around the world who are here today, whether supported by PAUSE, by SAR, by PSI, CARA, MSCA for Ukraine, SAFE, SRF, or any other programs. You are the reason that we are here today, the reason that our various programs exist and have been created, and we look forward to learning from you today. Inspire Europe Plus is an EU-funded program coordinating and strengthening support in Europe for researchers at risk. We organise workshops and trainings with researchers and capacity building for host organisations. We encourage and advise on the development of new national level initiatives, building on the excellent models of state-funded programmes, the PAUSE programme here in France and the Philipp Schwarz initiative in Germany. And we provide input to European level policy processes relating to researchers at risk and academic freedom. Since 2019, Inspire Europe has created a robust Europe-wide alliance for researchers at risk. It has provided vital career development support for over 500 researchers at risk across Europe, as well as capacity building for more than 350 host institutions. It has supported national level initiatives, capturing their experience and sharing key lessons that will enable others. Inspire Europe has, as Claire mentioned, developed policy recommendations to support academic freedom and researchers at risk, including, as mentioned previously, a recommendation to establish a European-wide fellowship scheme, which is being implemented currently through the pilot SAFE initiative, and the MSCA guidelines for researchers at risk, as Claire mentioned in her presentation. Since 2019, Inspire Europe has been an extremely effective vehicle for coordinated action across Europe and a key driver of progress in support for researchers at risk. It has also provided reasons for hope in often dark times. Our community supporting academic freedom and researchers at risk has never been larger. There are more programs and more fellowship opportunities for researchers at risk than perhaps at any time before. But it is important to underline that there are not enough. And thanks in part to our efforts at sounding the alarm and in part to recent headlines, there is a growing public understanding of why academic freedom matters to everyone. On behalf of all the consortium members, I really want to express our gratitude to the European Commission's Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions for their vision and leadership in supporting this coordination work. I want to particularly thank the MSCA unit at DG Lohéac and the Research Executive Agency colleagues, in particular Claire Morel, Maria Mitic, Maria Fedotowajta, and Alice Rajewski, some of whom are here today, as we've just learned. EU support for these programs makes a significant and immediate difference in the lives and careers of researchers at risk, providing support through fellowships, training, networking activities, and encouraging meaningful knowledge circulation. These impacts alone would be reason enough to justify these programs. But EU support has a wider and equally important impact by serving as a signal and a model, particularly in these challenging times. This support for researchers at risk serves as a signal that academic freedom matters to all societies and that threats to scholars and universities are unacceptable and will not go unnoticed. At the same time, EU support for researchers at risk serves as a model to reinforce and inspire more multilateral and national level activities in Europe and beyond. The Inspire Europe partners disseminate these models widely, and we will continue to do so, with the hope that every country and every university will do its part, however large or small, to protect scholars and students and to defend academic freedom. The consortium partners are committed to continuing the work of Inspire Europe Plus after the project's completion in August 2025, and we'll focus on 3 key levers that will enable support for researchers at risk and academic freedom. Our network, all of you and beyond, connecting all actors across Europe, our advocacy, strengthening academic freedom policy in Europe, and our support for researchers at risk through training, through networks, through fellowships. We must continue to sound the alarm because, as much as we have accomplished together already, threats to academic freedom are increasing. In this current global context, European momentum on academic freedom and support for researchers at risk must be strengthened. There is now a much greater urgency to Europe's global role as a champion for academic freedom. And this is a moment to redouble our commitment to academic freedom and support for researchers at risk. 2 days ago, as has been mentioned already, not very far from where we're sitting today, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen spoke of the need for free and open research. And President Macron said, there can be no lasting democracy without free and open science. The messages of our community are being heard, and it is up to all of us to capture this moment. Today's forum is an important moment for us to do so together. So thank you all for being part of it, and thank you, Paul and Collège de France.
Distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, it's a true pleasure and an honor to welcome you today to the 3rd and last edition of the Inspire Europe Plus Stakeholder Forum. As the director of the POST program, I look at the strength and quality of our European collaboration with immense satisfaction. When the idea for POST first took root, we immediately looked at the examples set by our colleagues. The Philipp Schwarz Initiative in Germany, CARA in the United Kingdom, and our partners across the Atlantic, Scholars at Risk and the Scholar Rescue Fund, which were precious sources of inspiration. The spirit of shared experience, this fundamental belief in learning from one another, is the very foundation upon which Inspire Europe Plus, funded by a Unity Marie Skłodowska-Curie action, was built. Collaborating, improving, replicating, and ultimately amplifying our collective impact in supporting researchers at risk are the principles that have guided us for the past 6 years. While new initiatives have developed and existing ones have strengthened to support researchers at risk, the situation for academic freedom is unfortunately evolving in a negative situation. Conflict zones are multiplying, and tragically, we know that places where knowledge and culture are often the primary targets. The same holds true for the authoritarian and illiberal regimes. We are witnessing a concerning example today in the United States. And yet, as we all know, and as it has been underlined by all participants at the Choose Europe for Science event on Monday, academic freedom and an open science are fundamental cornerstones of our societies, vital pillars upon which our democracies rest, and the condition of innovation. Therefore, the protection of scientific and cultural freedom of researchers and artists is not solely concern of the academic or cultural spheres. As stressed by the President Macron and the President of the European Commission, in the Choose for Europe, Choose Europe for Science. In the Choose Europe for Science appeal, it is a collective responsibility, a shared imperative. We urgently need all actors, academic and non-academic, businesses, foundations, to unite in order to meet the growing needs of scholars at risk. Beyond the crucial emergency responses that allow us to welcome this invaluable source of knowledge and inspiration, a point so eloquently highlighted by Professor Philippe Aguillon, it is essential that we ensure the long-term stability of the laureate of our various programs. Sadly, for many, a return to their home countries in the short term is not a viable option. To this end, we must explore all possible avenues. Securing a permanent position within academia is, of course, the primary goal of everyone. However, we are all aware of the complexities of this in every country across Europe. Therefore, other opportunities must be explored, including beyond the traditional academic landscape. This is why fostering connection between different ecosystems and actors, building bridges is so vital. And this is precisely the objective of this European Forum of the Inspireurope Plus Consortium, to bring together the diverse programs and initiatives dedicated to protecting scholars at risk, the laureates themselves, host institutions, businesses, non-governmental organizations, and international institutions. Our aim is to foster a deeper understanding among us, to encourage the exchange of experiences and best practices, to create synergies, and to envision future collaborations and opportunities. Therefore, we are absolutely delighted to welcome you to this Inspireurope Plus Forum. And let me now briefly outline what you can expect from today's program. So this morning's plenary session is designed to be highly focused on the future. Our aim is to identify concrete opportunities, address the persistent challenges we face, and explore truly innovative solutions to facilitate the successful integration of researchers at risk into the broader professional landscape. Our first panel, Creating Opportunities for Scientists at Risk in the Non-Academic Sector, moderated by Konstantinos Tararas, Program Specialist at UNESCO, will bring together a diverse group of scholars, representatives from the business world, dedicated programs for scholars at risk, and key figures from both the public and the private sectors. A particular focus of this discussion will be the crucial links and potential synergies between these two vital sectors. The second panel, which Frank Geary will, I am sure, expertly moderate, will delve into the profound impact of research on civil society. We will explore the significant contributions that researchers, particularly at risk, make to our societies, often in profound and unexpected ways. This afternoon, we will transition into smaller, more interactive workshops, allowing for deeper engagements of specific topics. Two workshops focusing on training for researchers will be led by our long-standing partner, the Association Bernard Grégory. Simultaneously, a roundtable available online will be dedicated to the crucial strategies being implemented to facilitate the professional and social integration of researchers. This discussion, moderated by Sarah Blichfeld from the University of Gothenburg, a valued member of the Inspireurope Plus network, will address key aspects such as intercultural understanding, the importance of networking, and mechanisms designed to maintain a connection with the academic sector even after emergency support concludes. Our colleagues from the European University Association, Michael Gabel and Henriette Stauber, will also be hosting a working session to test and update the policy recommendations that our consortium developed during its first initial phase. This session, involving university presidents and vice presidents, aims to further strengthen the protection of researchers at risk at a systemic level. Finally, partners from Inspireurope Plus, as well as of MSCA for Ukraine and the SAFE partner, which has been launched in September and which evaluation process is underway, will come together with a discussion on the future collaborations This 5th workshop will be moderated by Maaike Diderot, Program Director for the Inspireurope Plus at the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. Our goal is to continuously enhance our synergies, always striving to improve our collective responses and better meet the evolving needs of researchers at risk with the unwavering aim of protecting academic freedom. The day will conclude with a session where the outcomes of the various workshops will be presented. We will also have the pleasure of the presentation of the Standing for Freedom photos, which is part of the Restrica project. The curator, Pascal Aborier, will tell you more about this before we will pass to the well-deserved cocktail. So finally, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the speakers and the moderators who will be leading our discussions today. You can find their bios in the program. And to bring these opening remarks to a close, I want to warmly thank the Collège de France and the post teams who have worked on this event, even under the impulsion of Marion Guess, Lucchini, is he, as well as our Master of Ceremony, Firat Elim, for his invaluable support throughout the day. So thank you to you all, and we are very truly grateful for all of you to be here today. I give you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you to our three speakers for their valuable insights. We will now take a short coffee break for almost 15 minutes for in-person attendees also. Refreshments are available in foyer. For those joining us online, the session will resume at 10:45.